You don't got to be cool with me, Vinny, a fellow Gen Alpha myself.
Yeah, look at me.
Me and my friend David, we also hit that whoa with the best of them, you know?
TikTok.
Oh, hell yeah. Goes the clock. Amen, fellas. And
Come
I'm just
on.
like you know what I mean? I watched Monk, right? I was right there with you watching Law and Order.
Hey, Monk was a great fucking show. Let's have our fun, boo. Monk was a great fucking show.
So I'm not stepping on Monk. I fucking love Monk.
You kids would do well to watch a little Monk. Maybe you wouldn't act that way if you watched a little Monk. Gold all in my chain, gold all in my ring, gold all in my watch. Don't believe me? Just watch, nigga, don't believe me. Just watch. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another phenomenal episode of My Mama Told Me,
The podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of Black conspiracy theories.
And we finally worked to prove that Lionel Richie was only allowed out of his Commodore's contract if he agreed to adopt a white child. You think they were letting that brilliant man's money go back to a black baby, to the black community? Absolutely not. We're making that white money again. It's the only way you're getting out of this Commodore's bullshit is make this some white money. And that's what they did. I'm Langston Kerman.
I'm David Bory, and I've never been more proud to call you my co-host.
It's truly, what other explanation is there? Just two black people adopting a white baby and being like, yep, this is what we got going.
I've only ever even heard of it on your television show, Southside. I've never even heard of it. It's that, and I know a lot of fucking freaks.
It's a bold choice, even for a very rich black man, to be like, I'm gonna get a little white girl and keep her.
Is it? Oh man. Okay, would you do it? That's, I think, how we need to open this. Would you guys do that?
Wow. That's a tough question.
It's a very hard question.
Would I adopt a white child?
I would adopt the right kind of white child. I would adopt, I would say, Greek or Italian. I would adopt an Italian
Okay.
white child. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I think Greek sounds nice. A little Stavi running around, that seems nice. Just
But if you get an Eastern European, he could still ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
Get you a Luka.
That's true. Get you a Jokic.
And I don't know the prices of babies racially, but
Prices.
I would maybe not be crazy in saying that you get a little cheaper.
I'm gonna be honest, them Eastern Europeans seem wholesale to me. They seem, you know what I mean? They seem like there's no markup. You just get them for what they're worth, and that's a deal. Anywhere you go.
I think you play a dangerous game. I think it's a 50-50 chance if you adopt an Eastern European person, they're going to be a vampire. Because that's where they live.
That's the worry.
Okay.
See, man.
Right.
2 minutes in, you're already tracking. That is the worry.
They're calling you Papa and they're biting your neck and now you're in trouble. Yeah, I got you.
But now I got a vampire on the team.
Oh, you're saying you can weaponize this vampire. You can make them into something else.
I mean, I'm saying that he will have a love of his father that will propel him to help his father out when his father is in need, much like all of you would do.
When are you going to be in need of a vampire?
Bro, AI's coming around. I don't know what's about to happen.
Fair
So
enough.
you're imagining kind of a Dexter situation where you train your monster child
Whoa, you said monster. First of all, I just said Eastern European. You're putting these labels on my boy.
No, we agreed on vampire.
We agreed on vampire.
And I think that qualifies as monster. I'm here with Vinny. We should introduce our guest. We haven't even bothered introducing him. He immediately launched into speculations about the prices of white babies and vampires. But our guest today is so funny. We're both big fans of his. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He's a writer, and you can see him currently on Platonic on Apple TV Plus. Give it up for the hilarious Vinny Thomas, everybody.
Oh yeah,
I got a friend in this village.
That was more ominous than it felt. It was just the closest sound.
They told me to expect sounds, and I still was not prepared, I think, emotionally, spiritually, or physically, for a sound to occur. And I'm going to do better in the future.
That's the hard part. It happens at any time, and there's no real way to prepare for that feeling.
We grow when we're uncomfortable.
Vinny, we're excited you're here. You came to us with a conspiracy theory that I actually was surprised we had never covered before. It's such it's such a formative conspiracy theory, I think, in my childhood that I almost think I overlooked it because of how much it felt ubiquitous with my own upbringing. But you said, my mama told me,
if your right ear is pierced, that means you're gay.
Yeah, true. I think that's all true. Everything you said is true. I think by the time I was in school, that conspiracy theory, it was starting to kind of drift away a little bit, right? But there's always that thing in the back of your head is like, which ear is the homosexual ear, which ear is the heterosexual ear. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, I could not remember which is which. So
which maybe is the gayest thing you can do. Not remembering, that means
forgetfulness. Yeah, one thing about gay people is we have amnesia 24/7. You know who was gay? Oh my god, yeah, Dory from Finding Nemo, lesbian fish, short-term memory loss. This is all tracking.
So my question is first, because I know we all heard it. Did you guys believe it?
Vinny, I'll let you answer that first because I do have an answer. I don't want to override.
I don't know if I believed it, but I still was terrified of getting one ear pierced versus the other because I wasn't sure which was which. You don't believe it, but you do trust that other people will believe it. Perhaps people who are bigger and stronger than you. And I think that alone instilled a kind of belief, if that makes sense.
I feel almost exactly the same. I didn't believe it for a second, but I was like, all these niggas do. So who am I? Who am I to jet against their own research? Yeah, I'm going to make sure I get the correct one pierced so that no associations are made.
Ultimately,
with me.
It's not the smart who inherit the earth. It's the brutal and stupid. And they make the decisions.
Bori, did you believe it when you were a young lad?
I think I believed it in the way that I believed a lot of things I was told of this kind of type where it's like, maybe there's something going on that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I don't know what they do. That could be like, I didn't have my ears pierced. It definitely wasn't something I was like worried about either way, but I think that I thought that maybe it's culture, you know what I mean? Maybe there's like a story behind it, but I definitely think I thought it came from somewhere.
I will say I was not out in school and I didn't have my ears pierced at all because my parents thought piercings were disgusting. They still do. I don't know what about piercings and tattoos instilled kind of a visceral disgust in their mind.
Oh, you don't mean disgusting in like a shameful way. You mean literally like
I think
triggers a gag reflex.
Yeah. It truly produces a sound in them that is like a kind of scoff. Like it's like kind of like a you know what I mean?
Are your parents a lot older?
No, but my mom is white, but Italian white. And her mother is from Italy, like the old country. And so there's a lot kind of wrapped up in there, I guess. My dad's a military guy, so I think any kind of departure from, having regular ears was weird for him. But I did get one ear pierced. It wasn't the right one for a gay guy, but I did get one ear pierced.
Whoa. Damn, you still blew it.
I still blew it.
Hey, you and me, brother. We both did the piercing. I did it. I guess I in theory chose correctly for myself, but that said, it all was very rooted in a fear of like, yo, I hope I don't get made fun of. Yeah.
Here's the thing. When I went to get it pierced, I went with a friend and he got his right ear pierced and I got my left ear pierced because we weren't sure which is which. And we wanted to cover the bases. You know what I mean?
That's insane. That's genuinely insane. For y'all not to like call it off that day and go check and just be like, I'll do one, you do the other. Good luck, my nigga, is crazy.
One of us was gonna be right. You understand? One of us was gonna be right.
Hey, that's beautiful, kind of.
That's the closest thing to homophobic Russian roulette I've ever heard in my life.
And as a direct result, I'm gay. And that's what happened.
That day at that Claire's. A lot of people think you're born with it.
No, it all
that was really fucked up. That you just said Claire's was really fucked up.
Was it not a Claire's?
I didn't get my ears pierced I'd be terrified to let one of. They use the same hole puncher that they use to like punch tags in heifers' ears when they're farming. You know what I mean?
I got bad news. I'm a Claire's man through and through.
Let's go, 100%. Baby! Oh. Claire's gang.
Claire's get the money, dog.
You let a teenager stab through your ear at Claire's?
Stab? It was a little gun that they put to your ear with a person who clearly doesn't know how it works or could not replicate the same hole even if they wanted to. It was a huge mistake. Of course, that's not the right way to do it, but I'm of a generation where I think I'm 37 years old. We didn't have the option to go anywhere professional. You went to Claire's or your mom wasn't going to take you anywhere at all.
Your mom took you to get your ear pierced?
That's right. She was a nice lady.
I do feel like, and maybe there's part of this, it's like just a lack of awareness, but I do feel like when I was young, there were not nearly as many places specifically to go for piercings. Like, I don't feel like it was always the tattoo piercing shop combo type of thing. So I do feel like there was, I steeple. I do feel like there was less, I do feel like there were less places to go to get it pierced.
Yeah. And if you were a real man, you went to Claire's and you pretended
or you did it on the bus if you were a delinquent.
You pretended like it wasn't a business filled with children's jewelry. You acted like you belonged there.
Did y'all have those friends who did it themselves? Who they heated up a needle with a fire and like stuck it through?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they had terrible infections. Every time I hear someone tell me about that and they're like, I was oozing afterwards. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? You were oozing. They were like, it was infected bad. It was crazy.
Brother, if your ear looks like it makes a Ninja Turtle, you did something wrong. That's not how it's supposed to go, you know?
If it makes a Ninja Turtle.
So you obviously bought into the stereotype. You bought into this conspiracy theory, despite what ultimately ended up being a queer person. Despite that, do you feel like were there people in your life that ever told you otherwise? Was there ever a brave soul who stepped up and was like, Vinny, that's silly. Be who you want to be. Pierce whatever ear you want to pierce.
No, absolutely not. Sometimes when I talk, sometimes when I would, I mean, I had an older brother. Do you know what I mean? I would talk about piercing my ear, and he'd be like, "You better make sure you flip the coin the right way. This is you play a dangerous game."
Again, it does not have to be a coin flip. You could have just researched which ear was the correct one.
You gotta go with someone else, and you each have to get one. That's the way it works. research. There's no way to know. I didn't have anyone who was actively like fighting against it. Yeah, I feel like it just wasn't as ubiquitous. I feel like this is a very 90s conspiracy theory, kind of a 90s, early 2000s conspiracy. And it's since started to trail off because now I feel like young guys now are guys who would have been considered very gay, like back in the day in school. You know what I mean? They got like mushroom haircuts and dangly like cross earrings and stuff. So
my little brother wears 2 dangling earrings.
Yeah.
The stress I would have had wearing this color shirt throughout most of my childhood was so heavy.
Before Cameron freed us?
Yeah. I would have been like, fuchsia. My nigga, do you know what I'm walking into with this? I don't have the strength.
Better be a goddamn school color.
We better be the fighting fuchsia tigers or else I'm absolutely fucking fucked.
You know what's funny to me about this conspiracy is like, what a terrible signal if it was, because I always thought about it as it was trying to keep like a secret society type of situation. You know what I mean? Like it was supposed to be a secret signal. What a terrible signal.
You don't think it's so a great signal? Obvious.
What?
It is. I think
you don't think it's a great signal.
No, it's not, like if you're trying to keep something concealed, I could just look at your face the first thing I look at and be like, oh, he's gay.
Well, here's why.
Like there's no, like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like.
Here's why I thought it was a better idea, and maybe this is my own stupidity. It always takes me a minute to remember which ear is left and which ear is right when I'm facing somebody. So it's like, you got to sit there and do math, and after you don't want to finish the math, so you just ignore it and you move on with your life.
Absolutely.
I was like, it's subtle. It's very subtle.
I feel like this has to have come from gay people in, I don't know, the 70s, maybe earlier than that. They had a language. They had secret little signals, and it was, it was gay years, it was the hanky code, it was all of this that now is impossible to understand. Like, to me, it doesn't make any sense. But back then, every homosexual had to be like a Navajo code talker and had to have like a secret breakdown, like some hidden dialogue. And now it's like, oh, shit, you guys aren't hidden at all,
Yeah, Grindr used to be you just got to break a branch off of this tree and walk into the alley, wait for somebody to notice.
It is interesting you said the hanky code, because I remember when I first moved to San Francisco, that was like a big thing, but it was forever. It was like the color and the placement said what you were into, but I knew a lot of very boring people who also used it. Like they really co-opted that.
Yeah, some people with the hanky code, I don't think you need a hanky for like missionary and eye contact. Do you know what I mean? Like that's that
you just need to be open to love.
Yeah, we're trying to do something nasty with this. What are you doing? I'm curious to know how much you felt like something like this slowed your ability to finding your queer self, to fully coming out and feeling sort of settled in whoever you are, despite, the right or wrong ear piercing, quote unquote.
I don't think the ear piercing slowed it. I think it was an eventuality that I was going to get my ear pierced. Do you know what I mean? Ultimately, I do think it was destiny. And at the end of the day, I don't think I ever absolutely believed it. What you're afraid of is other people's reaction to it, not necessarily the thing itself. I think I was more afraid of having a hole punched in me, which on the face of it is a completely ridiculous thing to do. For what? So you could stick something in there? It doesn't even make any sense. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think human behavior is just kind of odd to begin with. Yeah, I think I was more scared of getting my ear pierced than being perceived as a gay guy with his ears pierced. And no, I don't think the ear pierce theory had any effect at all. Yeah.
That's nice. There's something nice that it didn't.
Nice.
Yeah, it is, because you fear that like this is somehow an inhibitor to people sort of being able to explore, to find themselves,
Right.
as it were. And so, like, hell yeah, if a bunch of the deeply rooted homophobia from the 80s and 90s did not break anyone's brains, I take solace in that. That makes me feel warm inside.
Oh, damn. Come on, through the shirt. I see.
All right.
Yeah, let it
now I
out.
want to be homophobic again to protect myself because I'm also a coward. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more ear piercing, right and wrong, right and left, whatever you want to call it. And it's more Vinny Thomas, more My Mama Told Me.
Would it revert, Terry?
Back it on up to our conversation about ear piercings. Left, right, gay, straight. Who knows? Who cares?
Who knows? Who cares? So your parents are disgusted by it. What was their reaction upon seeing that you had gotten your ear pierced?
First of all, I'd just like to acknowledge David's left, right, gay, straight, who cares, which truly sounds like an RFK Jr. campaign slogan. But I'd also like to say
it with a shitty voice, and we'll buy in. Then I'll listen.
Oh God! But I think they've calmed down a lot. I think it was when we were kids. They were very like their reaction to every now and then my brother or I would float the idea of getting a tattoo or getting a piercing, and my mom would be like, "Why would you do that? Why would you mar your skin?" And since then, my brother's gotten like, he has a giant half sleeve, and now I have my little itty bitty piercing, which I think they use for like babies or something. I have the smallest piercing in the world. I have one of those hearts that you give like you give a baby a year after it's born. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, we don't know who you are yet. So here's something to remind us that you're alive.
Little placeholder.
Yeah.
Nah, they've chilled out. I think, I think they're cool enough with it now. I think if I asked my mom, she would definitely prefer I didn't get it. But what do I care about her? She's not a gay guy.
Let's go.
Boy, do your parents give a shit? Does your mom, is she an advocate? Is she anti? Where is she?
Oh, no, she doesn't care at all. Which is funny because now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it would have made no difference. I don't know what I was worried about.
As far as her judgment would have made no difference if you wanted to do it or not.
There's other fashion things I could have done that she would have been a lot more upset about than the gay ear.
Like what kind of stuff?
I don't know, man. Just like going out being ashy. She hates that. Like it's just it's not like she would rather me be well presented.
A classic fashion taboo, being ashy, is what she'd be upset about. Not,
sometimes I'll go to the beach and I'm just ashy on the right side to let them know. Just ashy on the right.
That means I want to have sex in the water.
Yeah. It's an adapted hanky coat, really.
Yeah, ashy on the right with a gray hanky, also on the white side. We do want to have sex in the ocean. I feel like there are worse things I could have done. Like, I think an earring is so tame. I feel like it's a kind of surgical invention, and on the scale of surgical invention, like, I could have gotten those insane lip fillers that make it so your upper lip can't move. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Or like,
for sure.
What are people doing now? They're getting their buccal fat removed and they look like corpses. I could have done that. You know?
What's your buccal?
I don't know
what's
what
a
that
buccal?
is.
You know the buccal fat? Fellas. Your buccal fat. Your
Put me
buccal
on
fat
game.
Yeah, it's right here on your cheeks. And people are getting it sucked out so they look like...
Whoa.
Yeah.
You're just handsome Squidward all the time.
Yeah, handsome Squidward face. You get it sucked right out. I don't know where they put it.
Whoa. That's none of it. That's nobody's business.
None of my business where they put it.
That's HIPAA. You don't violate that. Now you take it out, we talk about it. But where you put it, that's HIPAA.
But yeah, to all that, my mom would be much more angry about that. What about you?
No, my mom literally took me to go get
that's right.
my piercing. My mom consented for me to get a tattoo when I was 16, which was a massive mistake, and remains stupid on my arm to this day.
What is a tattoo? What does it say? Like hustle?
Okay, you want to hear how bad of a choice I made? I've never told this story before.
It's R. Kelly. Holy fuck, it's R. Kelly.
It is. It's a big old picture of R. Kelly, and it says, no matter what he does, I'm a fan. No, so my first tattoo, I used to do performance poetry, and at 16 years old, was playing with the idea of going by the stage name Language Arts. You know, Langston becomes Language Arts. I swear to God. And it's
hard to breathe. This is the best thing about life.
I then went to arguably the most amateur tattoo artist in all of my community. And I took my then stepfather's drawing of a microphone that then the microphone cord turned into writing that said, you guessed it, language. And I took it to that amateur artist and I said, put this as big as you can on my right arm, please. And boy, did he.
I mean, devil's advocate, you can get some pussy behind that.
Bro, I assure you, you can't. It wasn't done well enough. It didn't look cool. You know what I mean? Like, all of it was a mistake in every way, shape, or form.
You got to go to the right places. You got to find a girl who sees that and she's like, I could speak a language.
Yep. Boom. Boom.
That's
boom,
enough. It's an end.
I truly had a bunch of God-fearing women around me who were like, you should not have done this, sir. This is not going to make us fuck you at all.
God, language sounds like a woman at church telling you not to swear. It just, it sounds like a warning.
It's like a tattletale-ass name.
It was awful. I really thought I was doing something. You know what I mean? Like, I really thought I was like...
No,
I
but
see the
does.
thought process, though, is the thing. I see where, if it was just a little too far over here, if it was just a little back, it would have been the coldest shit ever, but...
When I was a kid, when I was in high school, I saved up enough money to get a class ring, and I wanted to get the word creavi written on the side, which is like Latin for I create. Creavi. Yeah. But I get the ring, the letters are so close together, it looks like cream. It just says... So I saved up all this money to get this ring, and it looks like it says cream on the side, and I couldn't wear it. The first thing my friend said, my friend Gustavo, he looks at it and he goes, "What does cream mean?" And I said, "What?"
Gustavo, what the fuck are you talking about? This is Latin. I create. I'm an artist. He's like, "No, that's cream, dog.
That's cream. I see
that clearly says cream."
Does this cream get the money? Because if not, you weird as fuck.
Yeah, creamy as hell.
Yep, Cream King of Eastern Colorado, dog.
Damn, the Cream King. We got to add that to your intro when the episode's over. He's locally known as the Cream King of East Colorado. I did a little bit of research, Cream King, that I'd love to go over with you. Feel free to agree with it, disagree with it. Truly, none of this means anything. But one of the things that there was a quote that I guess I had never heard the official quote, but I guess the official slogan for this was "Left is right and right is wrong." I don't know if y'all ever heard it phrased so sort of 80s succinctly, but that was sort of the phrase, I guess, that circulated around this theory.
Wait, can I ask, did you read the same Queerty article where there's a guy on a bench holding a rainbow flag and his face is collapsed into his hands? Because I looked up just as a preliminary thing. I was like, gay year, articles. And the Queerty one popped up. One of the first pictures is this guy holding a little rainbow flag in his hand. He's sitting on a bus bench like this. And it's one of the funniest things I've seen in my life.
I did not see that, but boy, do I want to. Please send it to us because my God, does that. What a silly thing to be like, we're going to show a gay person, but they're not having fun with it.
Nope, can't see his ears at all. What's the point?
The left is right and right is wrong was supposedly the slogan that was circulating. And the theory took its rise in the 80s and early 90s, which is sort of odd. A more recent study shows that a company that sort of tracks online shopping behavior, says that men getting earrings rose by 147% from 2022 to 2023. So we're seeing a massive uptick compared to what I guess generationally it used to be.
Did y'all ever hear that it might have started in prison? I feel like everything where it was like, might be gay was like, oh, someone would make up a myth where it started. Like when people would sag their pants, they're like, you know what that means? He's sexually receptive. And I said, I don't actually know if that's true at all. I think maybe you just made that up.
Yeah, I think that's just deep, deep fear that you're associating with another deep, deep fear. You're like, I don't want to go to jail and I got to find ways of making it so that everything could send me to jail or make me jail gay, whatever.
Yeah. I also, it's kind of weird to me that the right side is the wrong side in this context because I feel like the left side is traditionally, that's the bad side, right? Like, I didn't go to Catholic school, but didn't people in Catholic school used to get their left hand beaten if they used the left hand because that's the devil's quadrant, is the left part of your body?
As a lifelong lefty, yes. No, that does make sense. Yeah, I'm left-handed. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They tried to teach me how to write right.
Oh, they like really tried to fix you.
Yeah. My mom had to come in and be like, "You're a stupid person. My genius baby boy is left-handed."
Yeah, he's gifted. He's brilliant.
I think they were just really willing to crash out on the idea of like, I don't know, man, he's eating glue. He's trying to write with his left hand. We got to get him out of here.
I got you. It wasn't just that you were writing brilliant sonnets with your left hand. You were being...
I was also throwing a lot of rocks.
Yeah. They're like, lady, we got problems. Here's a list. And your mom was like, well, he could be left-handed. He could be left-handed.
Yeah.
Leave him alone about that.
That left hand contains multitudes. Peace and violence on those 5 fingers.
Yeah.
I think this massive uptick sort of speaks to what you were talking about before, Vinny, of a different generation, right? Like even when I was a kid, I got my left ear pierced, but I also knew better, quote unquote, better than to get both ears pierced. I think that was also considered like gay when I was a kid to some extent. And
there was a weird crossover period.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that too. There was a weird crossover period where it was like, because it feels like we're a little... How old are you, Vinny?
28.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can relate. There was... Same.
Hey, man, I love Bluey too. All right? Go ahead. Listen.
There was a
Bingo,
weird...
the dad, the mom, they're all great.
You know their names. I don't know their names. That's crazy.
I do want to say though that to that point, I do remember being really, really young and having an earring being kind of more of a statement, and then having an earring being normalized, but having 2 being weird, and then that transit, because it was like you had to be real fly to pull that shit off.
Yeah.
At first, 2 earrings.
Aren't the fluctuations of culture so fascinating? Because at one point, like it was the high femme, like princes, performers of the world that like they were, allegedly the kind of the sexual icons for what a man would look. You know what I mean? Like they were super famous.
Yeah.
And, quote unquote straight, but they all had like earrings. Do you know what I mean? Both ears, whatever. They were done the fuck up.
One of Prince's album covers is him butt naked, sitting like an angel. You know what I mean? On top of clouds and covering his chest and penis. And he got so much pussy from that. He got an insane amount of pussy off of that. And that it doesn't make sense.
They really let a wolf in the hen house on that one.
But he's such a cute wolf.
The fact you went up from fox to wolf, I think says everything.
I think he would describe himself the same way.
I think he absolutely would.
To your point about sort of like the generational changes, one of the things that I researched or read is it talks about how for thousands of years, more than just like since the 80s, for literally thousands of years, it was more popular, or at least as popular, for men to be wearing jewelry as their female counterparts. That for royalty especially, they would put on lots of jewelry, they would have earrings, they would wear high heels, were originally developed for men to be able to look taller. It's crazy.
At some point, you have to wear a lot of jewelry to distract from the inbreeding qualities of your face.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's the Habsburgs would have to put on sapphires on their ears so you didn't see what was going on between the sapphires.
Oh, yeah. I got this big ass chain so you don't see my big ass chin.
That's what you stand in the sun so the glint distracts you.
Like, fuck, today I really look like my parents are cousins. I need some earrings or something, because fuck, I look crazy.
It also does feel very, if you just think about it on the whole, it feels very American and very Christian, the idea of not allowing that to men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels very puritanical, very like.
I don't
even think of it. I don't see why it would be particularly feminine, even. You know what I mean?
I think it's a part of men. It's a part of men are dirty culture. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, if a man isn't disgusting, he's not a man. I think it's an extension of that, where it's like, if you're not, bruised, filthy, and you don't care at all what you look like, then you are actually a lady.
Yeah.
Which I think
I know people whose whole sense of humor still revolves around that.
Yeah.
A lot of stand-up comics.
Brother.
I think if we can pull this out a little bit to almost a bird's eye view, it does seem like a lot of this sort of like damage that we're doing to each other comes from at least some version of like a monarchy to the crossover of monarchy and capitalist societies, right? Where like the wealthy can do whatever the fuck they want, but we have to find ways to keep poor people sort of locked in their poverty. And so you make these weird associations where you look dusty on purpose just to be able to prove your value in society.
And a really interesting correlation to that is that kind of the uber rich pop stars, they can wear whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? Two earrings, bracelets, it truly doesn't matter. But at that same time, the people, the normal people, the proletariat, if you will, could not wear earrings.
Big
because we were afforded that flexibility.
Yeah, no, it is. You have to remain malleable when you do not have the resources to survive completely off of your own. You know what I mean? You just wake up and you get to eat. So you gotta stay fucking flexible. You can't afford to show up with signals that sort of make people question your value here.
I think we did it.
I got a few more things I want to run past you guys. One of the things that also came up in all of this is that, and David, you sort of spoke to the Americanness of this. It turns out in Russia, it's the exact opposite. That in Russia, it's the right ear that you get pierced if you want to signal to people that you like fuck bitches and not fuck around with dudes. It's like a warning signal in Russia to that, like, hey,
this guy's gonna get some pussy. Watch out!
Hey, hey, watch out, fellas! It's a pussy hound here, but more a warning to gay men, being like, hey, no, not over here with that kind of thing.
That's even funnier because that feels even more so homophobic. Like, let me just make sure They know. I mean, they could look at me, I'm dirty as hell, but also...
I feel like when it goes that far, it goes from you better not to you better not. You know what I mean? Like,
bro,
like
big
at
time.
some point, it becomes you want them to interact with you. You know, you're like begging for them to have some sort of confrontation. He's like, I hope we don't have to wrestle. You know, like you just waiting for a confrontation.
The ladies don't protest. Better not be no gay guys in here. I bet if there's one in here, he better not.
If he's all oiled up and fine and shit, I'm gonna
get him pretty eyes in here. I'm gonna be mad.
I'm gonna grab that neck.
Big old muscly backs. Oh, I hate that shit.
Neck look like a ripcord. Beautiful.
They also talk about in one of the articles I read that China similarly associated the right with heterosexuality rather than homosexuality, but has since banned ear piercings completely. They were like, I think probably suffering the same thing you were suffering with your friend. They're like, we don't know which is which. None of y'all motherfuckers get to do it now.
We're just not gonna do it.
If we can't get on the same page, I'm taking it from everybody.
Maybe that would have been a better policy. I don't know. Because if they did opposite ears for each, like as soon as a baby boy is born, they do right or left, they end up with a 50-50 gay population. And that's ultimately not going to work out in the long run.
Can't do that. Nope. We already got too many girls as it is. We we got problems. We can't focus on this. No more ear piercings. All right. We need to take one more break. But when we come back, I have a little bit more research I want to run past you guys that I think is going to illuminate this conversation ever more. So we'll be back with more Vinny Thomas and more My Mama Told Me.
Pop my butt, pop my butt. Pop my butt, pop my butt.
Do you know what pop my butt meant to Harriet Tubman? Do you know what that meant? It meant a whip.
And we are back whipping y'all into shape on this conversation.
Pop my butt, pop my butt.
It's just very funny that she made her read her own lyrics. You know what I mean? Like,
it's awesome.
Every time I watch that video, it's her mirthless grin. It's like, pop my butt, pop my butt.
But like, why do you have to read your own lyrics? They're your lyrics, baby girl. Just say them out loud.
Yeah. And honestly, own it. Rap that shit. You should have rapped that shit. Bro.
Yeah, you should have acted like you were trying to get signed.
Who is it? Who did it?
Yeah, Ayanla.
Ayanla, yeah. Fix My Life.
Yeah. Fix My Life. One of the white whales of our podcast. If we ever get her, we'll know we finally did everything we needed to do here.
I think if she actually rapped Pop My Butt, Ayanla would have fired a gun into the air. She would have done something crazy. Just the reaction to that would have been explosive.
She would have gone Super Saiyan 2, just lost her fucking mind on that lady. Okay, there's a few more things I want to tell you about this apparent conspiracy theory. One of the other pieces that came up was this question of signaling. Signaling, you mentioned, David, is sort of a way of I guess showing to other people. It doesn't always have to be gay people, though I think the term is rooted in sort of gay culture, showing other people markings or indications that we belong to the same community. This specific signal, I think, also gets dropped into something called hairpinning, which I guess is, or dropping a hairpin, which is essentially the same quality of signaling, specifically as it relates to the earring, I guess.
You would drop a hairpin?
I don't know. It's a dropping a hairpin as
let me get
phrase to like show a signal without having to get caught kind of thing.
See, this is what I was talking about. There was so much subtlety in signaling. At some point, it must have been exhausting because you would have had to speak a whole different language, like in the 70s, 60s, to let people know. My God, just write your name on a bathroom stall, and be like,
I'm so glad you said it
at 3 p.m.
I'm so glad you said it. I was thinking it. I was like, that seems like, of all these things, that seems like the most reasonable way to do it.
Yeah. Name, number, go to a bookstore, bookstore and just stand in the corner reading a stupid book that people know you're not reading. Do you know what I mean?
It's just to get a nut. Get a nut.
This Garfield book ain't that long. You ain't reading that. What are you doing here?
Come on.
I don't hate Mondays that much. No one hates Mondays like that. Put that book down.
Also, why do you hate Mondays? You don't have a job. You lasagna eating bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I did always take issue with that. I never understood what was the these days mean nothing to you, Garfield.
He had a job. Garfield worked for the DOJ. You didn't know this? You guys, you were fans. More. You were fans.
I love this.
Garfield worked for the Department of Justice. He tapped phones. He broke into houses. He arrested people. Kind of a badass but problematic life, I think, at the end of the day.
Damn.
Odie was unemployed because he got kicked in the head by a horse.
Yeah, no, he was gone.
Odie was unemployed and he was collecting a check, but he wasn't making it. One of the things that they said was made complicated for this signaling, right? Because it originally sort of becomes popular in the 80s and 90s. But the reason they claim, at least, that these signals started to become problematic is because it gets weaponized by pop culture to some extent, right? There's actually an article from 1991 in the New York Times, no less, an article entitled "Piercing Fad Turns Convention on Its Ear," that basically exposes in a formal way, which obviously it had probably been speculated on for a long time, but sort of exposes in a formal way that the right ear is the quote unquote wrong ear or the gay ear. And that then makes it a societal conversation and not just this sort of communal one between gay men.
This happened in the 80s, right?
This article is 1991, but the trend, I think, begins in the 80s.
I don't know what it was. I think there was a lot of witch huntism, cultural witch hunt stuff in the 80s. Like, you remember when they were telling everyone that Dungeons and Dragons was like demonic? There was just a lot of...
Oh, there was major satanic panic as well, yeah.
Satanic panic, yeah. And I think it's part of it. I think that's kind of an extension of it. But also, I think as gay people kind of moved into just kind of society, mainstream society as a whole, a lot of the stuff that was traditionally gay became popular. And so it started to...
George Michael.
Hell yeah, George Michael. Hell yeah.
And the rest. But George Michael.
Talk about the other guy in Wham. He doesn't even have a name.
No, he doesn't. That's Wham. That's Wham.
I think that definitely that. I think also it's just a very conservative time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general in our country's history. And I think that leads to a fear around these things.
Yeah, we're in the middle of Nancy Reagan telling us not to fuck, not to do drugs, not to do, and she is
meanwhile
secretly she who we want to be doing drugs and fucking with. You know what I mean? That was the problem. Yeah. Nancy should have been like, don't fucking do drugs unless you're trying to get the best. And that's me. That
Nancy
said,
on my Reagan till I tore down that wall.
We miss you, Nancy. That said, I do think you're right that it's
I just think Senator Gorbachev tear down these walls.
in that bit, is it still Ronald Reagan telling him to do it to his wife? Oh, that's great. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down these walls. Nancy just busting it open for freedom. For freedom.
That's good, because I don't think I could nut if I was president.
What?
What?
The stress of the job would weigh too heavy. I don't think I would get a lot of erections as the president of the United States of America.
Oh, you think it would really give you erectile dysfunction to be president of the United States? Mm-hmm. I've always felt like that job's not as hard as they pretend like it is. And maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm bugging.
For a bad person.
Yeah, and I guess I've always thought they were all that, so it's not that stressful of a job.
Nah, me and David are different. We think every president is a hero and a kind of prophet.
We have hope. We're not like you fuchsia-shirted alarmists. We believe in the good people of this country.
Yeah, I just thought they were all monsters. I was like, there's no way these monsters are waking up stressed every day. They're probably
what do you say to the aging effect of it all?
I think what's stressful about it is the pace, not the work itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be a bunch of places and you have to stay up late, but I think you're kicking it most of the time. It's like business school. You know what I mean? Like, those people drink all the time. They just happen to be doing fucking school at the exact moment that they're doing it.
Could you imagine being the one that got stuck in a bathtub?
Taft.
I think about that all the time. I would be so humiliated if I was Taft. I wouldn't be able to show my face again. That shit is crazy.
The president.
They have to get tools to get you out? Are you fucking serious?
And I'm still going to raise taxes.
You know what's crazy? I just assumed they asked him to leave after that. I never. Yes, because how are you gonna let a man? If he got himself stuck in a bathtub, how's he gonna make a law? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just assumed they were like, Mr. Taft will obviously get you out, but you're gonna we're gonna give you 25 minutes to pack up and say your goodbyes to the staff.
Leave your gun and your badge at the door, so you can't come back here.
Yeah, the Oval Office is closed for the afternoon, and you'll find the doors locked tomorrow morning.
They had to drag him out, like. No, never mind. Forget it.
No, you finished the thought.
Yeah,
you finished the goddamn thought over here.
Diary of a Mad Black Woman, but it's Taft being dragged out of the Oval Office.
And then pushed down the steps in a wheelchair. Like,
yeah. They're like, stop making those bubbles while he's in the tub.
All right. Now I think we did it. I think this morning
we did it.
This was great. It sounds like we're all in agreement that the signaling was probably necessary at a point, but certainly absurd for us as children to buy into. But what are you going to do when you're raised in a toxic culture that refuses to look at itself? Yeah. All right. Vinny, do you want to tell the people where they can find you?
Are you gay? Who says I'm gay? You are gay.
That was just the funniest possible time to do it.
It was great, and I want to believe you were looking for it the entire hour that we spoke.
No, I had it queued up. I was just like, where do we place this bad boy? I didn't want it to get away from me.
That's perfect.
You can find me at VINN_AYY. That's at VINN_AYY on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Hell yeah. Follow Vinny and watch Platonic on Apple TV Plus. Vinny's great. This was so fun. Bori, tell the people where they can find you.
Cool Guy Jokes 87 on Instagram and TikTok. go to my Patreon, patreon.com/David Borie, GBORIE. Purchase my special Birth of a Nation. Watch all the videos on there. We've made some real funny stuff. Come see us on tour. Start the Steal. Wayne Brady said it's the funnest tour he's ever been on. He said funnest.
Yeah, that's how Wayne Brady talks, and that's not our business.
Like something he would say.
Then he improvised a song on the spot.
But yes, please come see us on tour. We're on the Start the Steal tour as we speak. We still have dates in Brooklyn, Boston, Denver, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, Houston, Austin, Atlanta, Dallas, a whole bunch of fucking places. So go buy your tickets. We would love to see you out on the road. And as always, you can follow me at Langston Kerman on all social media platforms. And if you want to send us your own drops, your own conspiracy theories, if you want to tell us what is the asexual ear, send it all to mymommapod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Like, subscribe, rate, review, get them rebates, send back them little pieces of paper so you can get your rebate. Bye, bitch.
There was doo-doo, feces thrown all over the walls, the floor, the ceiling, and it stunk so bad.
My Mama Told Me is a production of Will Ferrell's Big Money Players Network and iHeart Podcasts.
Created and hosted by Langston Kerman.
Co-hosted by David Borie.
Executive produced by Will Ferrell, Hansani, and Olivia Aguilar.
Co-produced by Bay Wang.
Edited and engineered by Justin Conner.
Music by Nick Chambers.
Artwork by Dogon Krieger.
You can now watch episodes of My Mama Told Me on YouTube. Follow at My Mama Told Me and subscribe to our channel.